The CMO Confidential podcast is a proud member of the I Hear Everything podcast network. Looking to launch or scale your podcast? I Hear Everything delivers podcast production, growth, and monetization solutions that transform your words into profit. Ready to give your brand a voice? Then visit iheareverything.com.
Welcome to CMO Confidential, the podcast that takes you inside the drama, decisions, and choices that go with being the head of marketing. Hosted by five-time CMO Mike Linton.
When is the last time you researched something on a website? If you're like most people, AI did that work for you. And that raises a question. If AI is doing the work, what is your website really for? This behavioral shift means AI bots are becoming your most important new visitors, a challenge our sponsor Scrunch is taking head on. Scrunch is the customer experience platform that helps you understand how AI agents experience your site, when and why they show up, and what's blocking them from being retrieved, trusted, or recommended. Scrunch shows you the content and citation gaps and technical blockers and helps you fix them so your brand shows up when consumers start with AI, because your most important site visitor might not be a human. For our listeners, Scrunch is providing a free website audit that uncovers how AI sees your site and how you're showing up in AI versus the competition. Run your site through it at scrunch.com/CMO.
Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Dave Penski.
Hey, I want to shift topics because you mentioned earlier in one of our chats that you are almost like an economist in that you get to talk to so many companies and verticals. And you mentioned that many clients are seeing what you referred to as the hollowing out of the middle class. Can you talk about what that means and how that affects business?
So I'm not the first person about the K economy. I guess that was, and I do think that we're looking at a very challenging situation in this ability to not just the middle class, but a number of our clients that focus on lower income and lower middle class families as part of their business. If you look across a majority of our clients, it's a big part, and there's a number of our clients that have more on the higher end. Some of those, the ultra wealthy, have covered up some of the problem of the top 1 or 2%.
Yeah, and just for our listeners, the K curve is the high edge of the economic, the higher earners, higher income, buy a lot of stuff, and that makes up for the gap of the middle folks, and that's the K economy, which. You say what you want about it. That's what people call it. And
so I think that that is a significant issue, and it's not going away anytime soon. I don't want to get into a political philosophy conversation here, but I'm not going to speak about. But there is our current focus with our country right now is going to be very challenging, and we can tell people that there's no inflation, but people go to the store and buy stuff. It's not like a genius. Gas prices are in good shape, but sort of, and then
a lot of other places are not. I mean, there's just no there's
a real inflation here, and at the same time, our clients are being squeezed. If you're a CPG by on the retail side, who have their own challenges, on the retail media side, on the tariffs, on commodity pricing, all of those things have gone into a higher price for the consumer. And as a higher price for the consumer, this is a challenge for our clients across the board. And especially when you are focusing on the lower half of that segment. And that is something that I wish I had a solution for it. As an economist, I see it. I don't have a solution for it from a government standpoint. But this is going to continue to be an issue. And I'm not as focused on the stock market. It doesn't affect our clients as much. The one number that probably affects our clients the most is corporate profits. The corporate profits haven't really fallen yet. So generally what falls in line with corporate profits is advertising spend. That hasn't really fallen. So it's a okay market from an advertising perspective, but from a consumer perspective, and when the consumer becomes finicky and they can lose consumer confidence, you then start losing advertiser confidence. It's a bit of a circle.
Yeah, and if the K curve doesn't, if the high end of the K curve doesn't work,
Yeah, but even the high end of the K curve, it doesn't work across a number of categories. I think that one of the things is when you get into the verticals, the K curve only serves certain verticals.
Yeah.
And you even, I always think of you with insurance, Mike. I'm sorry, but you can only charge.
All right,
so
I like
much
insurance. You can think of me as Best Buy too.
But you can only charge so much at the high end, and you still have consumers on the low end that can't afford it, so they'll drop it and those types of things. And the other part is rising health insurance costs and how the country is dealing with it. I think that's probably one of the key things that hopefully gets solved before the midterms. Is if you keep spending more money in health insurance, that's less money going into the consumer market, and that is a challenging situation where if people drop health insurance, it causes a different public health issue. But those are things that I wouldn't say keep me awake at night, but certainly make me mind race a little bit as you start looking at it. And as I would say, this is as uncertain a year as we've had kind of going into it. Again, the disappearing up front is regards. We have a lot of meetings coming with clients and we're having it. The one kind of other interesting factor in the marketplace right now is you have this massive amount of money that was spent in the previous upfront on both Olympics and on the World Cup. And will those dollars return, or will all those dollars, let's say $2.5 billion of those dollars, will those dollars return, or will those dollars just go straight to the bottom line on the advertiser side? At the moment, if I'm betting a lot of those dollars go to the bottom line because
I would bet with you. If the K curve becomes an F curve, you'll have no choice but to move them.
And so that's another piece right now where I think you're seeing some. So when you look at the marketplace, if I look at why some of our partners are doing well, is if you're in local, if you're in audio, if you're in outdoor, if you're in local TV, you are going to have a good year in 26 because of a midterm election, which will help your numbers.
Yeah.
So you can probably buy yourself some time, and some of that money will float up into national advertising, and certainly with a lot of connected television and ability to buy that, it will help. So that will kind of cover up a bit of this problem in 26. But as you get into even in January, November, December, January of 26 into 27, when the political money is really going to be a long ways away from happening again, if a whole year of no politicals, no Olympics, no World Cup, that's a pretty tough. If I'm running an advertising company, that's a pretty tough. You call it F curve? What do you call it, Mike?
Well, I just made it into a fail curve. A K turns into an F.
I understood that. So I would say that is a very bleak outlook into 27. If you're missing all of those things, those dollars don't come back. And I think there's a reality to if the midterms don't get helpful and some decisions aren't made by our government to help one way or the other. Both sides of the aisle could do better here, as we know.
Well, here's the advice. Don't spend all your 26 bonus in 27, because the
I
27 bonus might not be so good.
I think that's a problem. I wasn't going to put that clearly, but that might be an accurate way to put it, Mike.
Not financial advice from CMO Confidential, but just a topic to as a service to our listeners.
I do think that is, as I look forward into this upfront in this season, we try to look ahead a bit. 27 looks like a tough year in the market without these other factors, which have been positive. I mean, that was an incredible Olympics. I mean, I will tell you.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure how they would do. They had I thought NBC did so well in Paris. And then I thought Milan, which was a terrible time zone for them, and just like Paris, without people, no one was working during Paris in the middle of summer, and people were off, and you had kids off. I don't think it hurt that they snowed all of us in the Northeast for 2 weeks. You couldn't leave the house. Maybe that was
it's amazing what the
NBC
network power can do to the weather.
Maybe NBC did a great job getting us onto some freezing cold weather. I couldn't leave my house for 10 days, but I do think for an 8 a.m. hockey game, I don't know anybody didn't watch the game, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard the other day that it was the most watched morning event of all time, which I have probably accurate. I don't know what else is better than that, and I think that was a nice thing to bring our country together, and I'm hoping that we have some more positivity like that, but I don't always feel that. And I thought they did a wonderful job on the Olympics in general. I thought both the women and men's hockey teams winning was just absolutely fantastic. And I hope that we get more of that. But the challenge is in 27, none of that exists. So
no Olympics. There's
no Olympics. And I think the World Cup should be great. I think the amount of Americans that are actually very excited for the World Cup is good. And we'll see how that pans out. But I feel very confident in the World Cup. And I think we'll get better weather than the Olympics. And I hope so. It's in June. I hope we get better weather. But it does feel a little bleak at the moment as I'm looking into a frozen Hudson River. I do think that there's I'm hoping that, again, the rest of 26 being positive about it. Again, if I'm my negative New York hat on, 27 looks tough.
There you go. Hey, I want to flip over to 3 other topics: streaming, sports, and gambling.
Yes.
You can take them any way you want. Streaming, sports, and gambling.
Well,
you have a cat's eye view of all of it.
All right. So on streaming, the announcement yesterday of Paramount purchasing Warner Brothers, I think is great. I think that would be a great, real competitor. And I think that's a very strong place for it to go. And I actually like that the whole thing's moving with CNN, and you're going to have a whole ability to have this other very large competitor in there. So I think it's a much better place for Warner Brothers. I think it's great. And I think Netflix being separate is probably better for our ecosystem. So I was actually, I guess, happy to see that. I guess both of them are clients of mine, so I'd be careful with that. But yes.
What you're saying is a bunch of big players is good versus 1 or 2 big players by themselves.
Yes, and I think that the ability to bring those 2 companies together, I think it's going to be a strong fit. I really think it's going to be a good situation. So on streaming, it's interesting. If you go back, I'm picking on 2004, but you had basically 6 providers of most of the content, and we have 6 providers of most of the content back again. And some of them have the same names, like NBCU and Disney, and some of them are new, where you have now it would be a Paramount, a Google, an Amazon, a Netflix. But again, you're about 6 people controlling. And there was the same thing was true 20 years ago. So I don't think we want to. I think it's a good way for advertisers to have choices. I think it's good for us to be able to negotiate with a lot of different people. I think it will provide enough supply, and I think that with what's happening now, the one piece falling out of this has been cable, where the numbers really are scraping the bottom. The streamers have moved most of that content. And the new content's being produced on streaming, with the cable basically being some reruns and some other things, which is that's probably the biggest difference. But 20 years ago,
6. We're not having consolidation like we did in accounting.
No,
like so you didn't go down from the just.
So I feel very good about where we're streaming. On sports.
How about sports and gambling?
Sports is as AI proof as it gets. So I think as we continue to see this. And I can't say enough positive things about both the college football and the NFL playoffs, were some of the best sporting events. It was must-see TV. So I feel very good about the sports landscape. We are big believers in sports going forward. No one wants to watch tape-delayed sports. So the ability to get live viewers, and I think probably the only thing I will say negative on sports is I think we got to get the NIL stuff cleaned up, so that we have a more organized NCAA sports opportunity. And I think that, Amazon coming into this and they're bidding up, of course, is good for the leagues. It's good for us. They're a very good provider of content. So I don't know issue with it. They've done an incredible job with both the Thursday night football games and now with basketball. The one thing that I would say on sports, which is unfortunate, and we will see how the numbers pan out this year, is because of the providers, whether that be the Samsungs, the LGs, the Rokus, the world, it is hard at the moment. I think YouTube TV does the best job of, hey, if I'm watching the Knicks on MSG and I want to flip to Amazon to watch the Nuggets play that or the ESPN, it's challenging.
I have to go out of the app and in the other one.
And out of the app. And so I think if I as a consumer and probably as an advertiser, if I could fix one thing on sports, the ability for us to go back and forth. I mean, the amount of times that I'm watching my local basketball game, I used to go watch Kenny, Shaq, and Charles at halftime and then go watch a little bit of that game, go back and forth. It is a cumbersome, annoying experience at the moment. And, I think the manufacturers would say it's the app guys that want the apps up. They don't want to leave the apps because if you leave the apps, you're losing the customer. But I do think there needs to be some type of coming together on this exact issue if we want that to work. Because I think it's going to be a very hard. If you get all the viewership of the past, if you don't fix this issue. And as more and more sports go to the streamers, and think about how you watch college football, how you watch college basketball, and if you got to go in and out of 4 different apps trying to find stuff, it's a pain. So I think
in the end, someone will solve this.
We are taking a short break from this show for a word from our sponsor, Scrunch.
Over the weekend, I asked AI to do dozens of things for me. Please help me make this dishwasher start working. Settle a debate between me and my partner. Is it safe to sleep at 80 degrees? It's not. Please help me find a robotics kit for a 5-year-old operating at a middle school level. And even help me compare the Scrunch Agent Experience platform with Adobe's LLM Optimizer. In every one of these interactions, I never once visited a website. In this day and age, what's your website actually for? The truth is, almost everything on your website is now for AI consumption. The Scrunch Agent Experience platform helps manage, optimize, and deliver content directly for AI to retrieve.
Now back to our discussion with Dave Penski.
So this will get solved, and this will be this to me is going to be a manufacturer or others. I think Google TV probably again does the best job of this. The ability to go back and forth is needed. I mean, if you think about it, even in the NFL, you got the Netflix has got a game. Everyone's got a game.
Everyone's got a game.
And trying to go back and forth is frustrating. It's very frustrating, and you don't want that consumer experience to be frustrated.
And let's go to the last
gambling. All right, so I'm not sure your exact gambling question. I like gambling. I don't bet on sports very much, but I am a gambler. I'm a poker player. I think the gambling aspect is a challenge. We don't have a gambling company as a client at the moment, so I'm not speaking from a client perspective. I think that gambling has brought interest into sports, but I don't know if it's always been in the most positive light. And I think if we've now had 3 or 4 of these things where players are getting paid. So I think there needs to be greater regulation around the gambling issue. I don't think
because if you destroy the fact that if you make sports fixed, that's the killing of the goose.
Over. Yeah. So I am hoping on NAL and on this, I don't think. I don't know why I'm going to pick on this school, but I don't think you should be able to bet $25,000 on a St. Bonaventure game. So I think that there needs to be some regulation on this, and so my worry is that people are betting on these. If you have effectively the idea that if the highest NAL player is $5,000 for the year, you shouldn't be able to bet more than that on a game, because the ability, and then the latest one is got these 25, 30 players that were playing these mid-major markets, not making much in NAL, and someone offers them $25,000 to fix a game. I'm not really blaming the kid here. I wish I could say that, this is how you shouldn't do this, and obviously you shouldn't do this. And that's why I think that if we get the NAL fix where it's clearer and cleaner and understandable, and I think that I was really happy with how competitive all the games were pretty much in the playoffs. But you're starting to see this. I don't think the LA Dodgers winning the World Series for the next 20 years is good, and I don't think you want to end up with 4 college teams. I think what makes college always interesting is the ability that, especially in the NCAA tournament, you saw a lot less upsets last year. And I do get nervous that you're going to end up with just like you have the AI winners and losers, the NIL winners and losers, and whoever has the richest booster
and that takes
wins.
the drama. It's the drama that makes it work. And if you beat the drama out of it, whether it's through like fixing games or know the Dodgers are going to win, the drama disappears. The audience may go.
So I could not agree more with that statement. So that's probably one thing I'm very, very bullish on sports. I'm not as bullish on gambling.
Hey, so what should you talk with CMOs all over the country?
Yes.
And companies and everything. What should people be working on now for implementation in 2027?
Well, I think that a few things. I think one, you want to make sure that you're able to understand who your customers are, who your prospects are, and the most efficient way to reach both of those groups. And I think that, and we believe it's an identity solution, but however you do that, I think that's very important to understand how consumers are moving through. It's a very connected ecosystem across that paid media, CRM, on influencer and commerce. How is that journey happening now? And that journey has changed even from a couple of years ago. If you think about it, pre-COVID, if you're a QSR, there was almost no delivery. You now have a huge ability to reach a much younger consumer in delivery, which you couldn't. So there's some real positives to like a DoorDash that's now bringing a much younger consumer to a QSR, which might have a much older base. On the other side, as that delivery comes in, is that separating that customer from the end user. So we said that customer from the QSR. So all of those types of things, I think understanding who your customer is more important than ever. Understanding who your prospect is and what it takes to convert them. That's probably the most important thing to figure out.
And this is a really big strategic point I think you're making, which is understand your customer for real, not just by media type.
Yeah, that's dead.
Yes. So I know we're at time, but we could talk with you a long time. So this brings us to our traditional last question: practical advice and/or funniest story you would like to share with our listeners. You can take either topic or both, but you must take at least one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I forgot. I did see this in the note, and I forgot this one. So I'm trying to think of. All right. So I'm trying to think of a funny story that I could tell on this that wouldn't be embarrassing.
Yes, because there's probably hundreds you can't tell.
So I'm going to pass on that one, and I'll do an advice one. So I have a group of people that I mentor, and I still think this is advice that I will give the people that is absolutely true. The most important thing in our business is still being on time, and it's shocking how many of our young people are not on time to meetings. And so I will say that if I had to pick one piece of advice, someone asked me this, I said a few things, but I said on time is probably still the most important thing. And it's the one thing you can control most of the time. And so if I give one person a piece of advice, that's what I would give them.
I agree. Punctuality matters, and it sends a signal that whoever you're meeting with, that person is important. So Thank you, Dave, for being on the
As
show.
I am 4 minutes late to my meeting right now, so I can't wait. But as I just said that, but yes, that is my point of view.
All right, I will finish up. Thanks. We'll have you back. Thanks for listening to CMO Confidential. New shows drop every Tuesday, and you can find our entire catalog of our 160 shows on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, which include Colonel Mustard, In the Study with the Job Spec, How Poor Design Shortens CMO Lifespans, a top venture capitalist analyzes the AI landscape, and Dave's first show, which ran in late 2023, a media maven discusses the marketplace, media, and CMOs. Hey, all you marketers, stay safe out there. This is Mike Linton signing off for CMO Confidential. When is the last time you researched something on a website? If you're like most people, AI did that work for you. And that raises a question. If AI is doing the work, what is your website really for? This behavioral shift means AI bots are becoming your most important new visitors, a challenge our sponsor Scrunch is taking head on. Scrunch is the customer experience platform that helps you understand how AI agents experience your site, when and why they show up, and what's blocking them from being retrieved, trusted, or recommended. Scrunch shows you the content and citation gaps and technical blockers and helps you fix them so your brand shows up when consumers start with AI, because your most important site visitor might not be a human. For our listeners, Scrunch is providing a free website audit that uncovers how AI sees your site and how you're showing up in AI versus the competition. Run your site through it at scrunch.com/CMO.